Hey everyone, Chloe here, and welcome back to another video. So, today I like to have an honest and open, no filter conversation about what happens to women after 35. And it's a topic that a lot of women don't like to talk about. And this is not fear mongering, this is the unfiltered truth. A lot of women don't like to admit that they're getting older, that they're struggling, or that they're drowning, or that their life is in the shambles, or that they're clueless about men. And a lot of women don't like to admit that they've made a ton of mistakes when it comes to men. They get embarrassed when they get used or played, or when they waste significant time with deadbeat men. So women tend to suffer in silence, and we don't have enough conversations with women on how to get on the right path. And we're not having these conversations with our mothers, our grandmothers, our aunties. So a lot of women hit 35 and they realize that not a soul, that no one told them or taught them anything to prepare them for life after 35. No one tells women about the gradual shift that takes place in a woman's life after 35. And it's a real transition that should be talked about more openly amongst women. But we live in a society that expects women to stay in their 20s forever. But the truth is, we all age. And as women, we all have milestones in our lives that we'd like to accomplish. But after 35, many harsh realities tend to kickstart depression in women, especially when they don't understand how to be hypergamous. So let's get into it. What women don't tell each other after 35. Let's start with independence. You know, that being Miss Independent after 35 and doing it all wears you out. When you're young, you can be Miss Independent, but after 35, doing it all tires you. It's called attrition, mileage, it's called the struggle or wear and tear. And after a while, doing it all, ladies, becomes very taxing on the body. And while it seems to be the standard that a lot of Black women have set for themselves, doing it all and having to do it all is stressful and it zaps your vitality because the energy that you had in your 20s will not be the same in your mid 30s. Moving on, after 35, no one cares how hard you work to be Miss Independent. Ladies, when you work against your feminine nature, it starts to grind you down and it starts to affect your looks and your feminine output. So if you're independent, but you look like hell, no one really cares because being a do it all workhorse makes a woman masculine. It makes you rough around the edges because doing it all taxes the body. And this is why so many sisters are broken down body wise because Miss Do It All doesn't have the time or energy to invest in her femininity. She doesn't pull. She doesn't put herself first because she's been taught to do it all alone at the expense of herself. So just like no one cares about how cute a Dusty is after 35 if he's broke, no one cares about how hard you work because people will start to judge you on other areas of your life, like having children, not having children, having a husband, having security, having a family. After 35, people aren't really impressed with career women. They're impressed with women who have it all. And I know that stings to hear, but it's the truth. Feminism doesn't prepare women for the judgment that comes with life after 35. Moving on. If you're still single, ladies, dating after 35 becomes an absolute nightmare. After 35, the pickings in the dating pool are slimmer than slim, especially if you are the type of Black woman who's waiting around for her non existent Black king. By this time, men will usually have a child or a bunch of kids to take care of, lots of child support payments. He may be divorced. He may be trying to look for his third wife. And you, as a single mother, may be looking for a stepfather for your child, like Ciara. But she's an exceptionally beautiful celebrity. But for regular women over 35, men tend to have a lot of baggage around this age because they're broke. They don't have any money to date or to impress the women that they really want. And that's very frustrating for them. And dating after 35 is when the pool of rejects tends to get bigger. You know, these are your abusive men, your mentally ill nuts, your narcissists, your misogynists. The rejects are usually the ones that are the leftovers. These are the men that no one wants. This is why it's important for women to understand hypergamy, to win with hypergamy. And the younger the better, because dating after 35 gets tough. Uh, Moving on, let's talk about weight. After 35, ladies, you gain weight and you start to age. After 35, the pounds come on and they don't go away as easily. Weight loss can happen at any stage of a woman's life, but after 35, our metabolism starts to drastically slow down, and after 35, our bodies hormonally start to give us more backlash when our diets lack nutrition. Some people can get away with eating fast food for a long time, but it eventually catches up to everyone. Look at the health crisis in diabetes that we're having all around the world. Diabetes used to be an obese person's problem, but now, people in their 20s are getting diabetes. And after 35, your body can't digest the garbage of a poor diet as well as it used to. And this is when a poor diet can age you. Now, I also know that black don't crack, and that as black people, our melanin slows the aging process down. Yes, black women usually tend to have youthful faces, but our bodies usually tell a different story. As a group, we tend to be overweight after 35. We tend to be obese. We tend to be inflamed from poor nutrition. And this is where aging shows up the most in black women in our bodies, because being significantly overweight is a byproduct of aging. And I'm sorry, y'all, some black does crack. And eventually, all women hit the wall of age, especially if they haven't kept up their looks. Moving on. After 35, men start to notice you less. And as quiet as kept, after 50, you start to become invisible to men. It's no secret, ladies, that women like attention from men. But men with money and resources tend to go after younger, more attractive, more vital women, and and don't get it twisted. A lot of older women are hot, they're sexy, and they can attract younger men. And these kinds of situationships are pretty common for women over 35, because it's an ego boost for older women to attract a younger, hotter guy. But usually this situationship is based on sex, and it runs its course, and it can't sustain itself because young guys are emotionally immature. They aren't providers. They don't have money. They can't do the things that older women enjoy doing because those things cost money. And usually, younger guys who have sex with older women have mommy issues. They want sugar mamas, or they sleep with older women because older women usually lower their standards and are sometimes even desperate for anyone. So, the younger man, the older woman dynamic usually doesn't work out because you cannot build a relationship on sexual attraction alone. Moving on, and this is a sensitive one, ladies. Fertility. Fertility dips after 35, and a lot of women, they think they can have babies anytime they want, but our bodies are given a window to have children. Fertility dips after 35. And if you want children and you want a family, you usually want to do it before 35, because after 35, getting pregnant, and of course, some women are blessed with uh, strong fertility, but fertility after 35 can come with complications like autism, birth defects, because after 35, the chromosomes in our eggs aren't optimal. Now, we are seeing a lot of celebrity women have babies in their 40s, but trust and believe they are using top notch fertility doctors. And as quiet as kept, a lot of Hollywood women are using donor eggs and using surrogates because some women's bodies cannot handle pregnancy after 35. And all of these procedures cost money, buku money. Why? Because life costs money. And lastly, life becomes expensive after 35. This is when money really becomes a motivating factor and force in dating for women, because after 35, women begin to see the value in having security for themselves, security for their children. Women want stability. Usually, women who say that marriage is just a piece of paper. And that it don't stop men from cheating, usually those women, they don't understand the financial benefits of being married to a man who is a provider. But after 35, trust and believe, she's humming and singing a different tune, because life costs money. Nothing is free. After 35, women want marriage because marriage to a provider man comes with life insurance, medical coverage, pensions, higher salaries, a husband with a will, and security for your children. After 35, ladies, you want to feel good. You get tired of hustling and struggling. You want manicures, you want pedicures, you want your hair done, you want to go shopping, you want to impress your friends. You want to go to nice restaurants. You want to travel and experience new things. You want to buy nice Christmas gifts for the kids. You want to create great memories. And for that to happen, you need money. And when you see feminine women who are getting men to pay for the things that you once bragged about getting on your own, the Miss I Do It All tends to get, she gets really mad. She gets big mad. She becomes envious and resentful because Miss I Do It All always hates on the woman who used her femininity to get what all women want out of life, and that's security. So if you're at 35 or over 35, subscribe to this channel to learn how to put yourself on a hypergamous path, because it ain't over for you, but you don't have time to waste either. And if you're under 35, subscribe and be glad that you live in the information age and that there are women like myself who are out here really trying to help women, because unfortunately a lot of women don't like to help other women. Most of the time we rather see another woman fail than to help her. A lot of the time, a lot of times women after 35, and I hate to say this, are pretty miserable. They can get pretty unhappy. And the older they get, the more bitter they become. And unfortunately, we don't have these kinds of open, honest, and wise conversations with each other, because most of the time uh, we're being petty, or we're being competitive for scraps, especially as Black women. And I've said this in other videos, in my earlier videos. We are competing with all races of women, Black women, when it comes to desirable Black men. So the time to work on your femininity and hypergamy is now. So let's talk about it in the comment section. What are some things you wish you knew before 35? What are some things that you were never told? Or if you didn't like this video, let me know why. So stay tuned for more videos to come, and I will catch up with you in the next one.